We could go and use one of the available deformation footprint compounds, but I'd rather explain to you how this process is created in the first place using some of the simpler tools. To begin with, we want to be able to get and set various data. As mentioned before, we want to be able to get the point position and calculate the intersection of the foot. ICE always ends up setting data back on objects, and since we build our trees generally from right to left, I'll start by setting the data for all of the points that are on this object. Set point position understands that we're working with the ground because the ICE tree is written to that object. In fact, if you look inside of the compound, the set point position compound, you'll see that it's simply a one-node compound that refers to an object called self. Self, of course, being the item that the ICE tree is written on. So self in this case refers to ground interaction. If I connect the execute from the point position to the input on the ICE tree, and I move ahead to frame 2, you'll notice that all of the points disappear. Well, they don't actually disappear, but they're represented by this one cluster of points sitting at the center of the world. In fact, all of the points have been set to a value of 0, 0, 0. Now this is a single 3D vector that represents all of the points in the mesh. And again, we have 17,000 of them. So there's 17,000 points sitting at this position. Well, what we can actually do is get those points and then modify them. So if I wanted to recreate this grid, I would use one of the getter tools under deformation and get the point position. So if I can get the original point position of all of the points in my object and then set them, I'm essentially recreating that grid. Again, if you look at the compound that makes up the get point position, it refers once again to a single node called self. So we're getting the self point position and setting it. So this is the simplest way of recreating the object, which is sort of pointless. We need to go a couple steps further.